Welcome to a new episode of Aurora Knowledge. Today, we're traveling far back into the past to explore the lives of the earliest humans. Around 1.8 million years ago, our ancestors began to use fire and make use of caves as living spaces. These developments were crucial for survival, but they also offer deeper insight into the social structures and survival strategies that formed around them. So let's take a closer look at how these early humans lived and why their discoveries mattered so much for human history. To understand the importance of fire and caves, we first need to look at the early humans themselves. The first members of the genus Homo, including Homo habilis and later Homo erectus, lived in a world shaped by harsh environmental conditions. They were hunter-gatherers who had to adapt constantly to survive. Their ability to use fire marked a major turning point in human evolution and changed the way they experienced and interacted with the world around them. For these early humans, fire was far more than a source of warmth and light. It was also an essential tool for preparing food. Cooking made nutrients easier to digest and improved overall nutrition. That, in turn, may have had a direct effect on the development of the human brain, since better nutrition supports brain growth and function. Archaeological finds suggest that control of fire also helped early humans survive in colder climates and spread into new regions. That was a decisive step in human evolution, one that helped our ancestors distinguish themselves from other species. But how did they first discover fire? The exact circumstances remain unclear. There are indications that they may initially have encountered it through natural wildfires, perhaps caused by lightning. Yet discovering fire is one thing. Controlling and using it is another. That required skill, experience, and shared knowledge. And this is where fire becomes especially fascinating. It did not just help people survive. It may also have encouraged social interaction. A fire naturally creates a gathering point, a place to come together, exchange experiences, and build a sense of community. That social dimension matters, because it suggests that very early in human history, there was already a strong need for connection and cooperation. Another major factor was the use of caves. Caves offered protection from weather and predators. They also provided a sheltered place for fire, where heat could be retained more effectively. Archaeologists have found many caves containing traces of hearths and tools, suggesting that such places were highly important to early humans. These caves were not simply primitive shelters. They became centers of life, learning, and social interaction. One of the best-known caves associated with early human activity is Zhoukoudian in China. The remains of Homo erectus found there point to cave use around 700,000 years ago. Researchers discovered not only tools, but also evidence connected to the use of fire. Finds like these show that both fire control and cave occupation played a role even at this early stage of human history. Discoveries of this kind help us understand how early humans adapted to their surroundings and what strategies they developed to survive in a demanding world. A surprising aspect of this early culture of fire and caves is the possibility that it also included forms of art and symbolism. Some caves contain primitive drawings and handprints, which may suggest that early humans were developing ways to communicate or express culture. These early images may reflect a relationship between people and their environment and suggest an ability to think beyond immediate survival. Such forms of expression may also have helped strengthen social bonds within the group. A widespread misconception is that the use of fire and caves can be explained only by the need to survive. Survival was certainly a major driving force, but many clues suggest that social interaction and cultural development were just as important. Gathering around a fire encouraged group formation and the exchange of ideas. These social structures may have laid the groundwork for the later development of more complex societies. It is remarkable to think that the first humans were not only surviving, but also beginning to organize themselves into communities and develop cultural practices. In summary, the discovery and use of fire, together with the occupation of caves, were crucial steps in human evolution. These abilities did more than help people endure a harsh environment. They also encouraged the growth of social structures and cultural expression. The traces left behind by these early humans give us valuable insight into our own history and the roots of civilization. It is fascinating to consider that the discovery of fire and the use of caves were not simply technological advances. They may also have had profound effects on the human mind and on social life. Early humans may have begun to see themselves not only as individuals, but as part of a group capable of facing challenges together. The ability to pass on knowledge about fire and how to use it may have laid the foundation for oral tradition and group learning, marking another step in cultural evolution. So the discovery of fire and the use of caves were not only milestones in human evolution, but key moments that helped lay the foundations of human civilization. They remind us how important it is to understand the past if we want to better grasp the present and future. When we look at the social structures and survival strategies of our ancestors, we can draw valuable lessons for our own lives and societies. Another fascinating aspect of early human history is the way knowledge about fire and caves may have been passed from one generation to the next. This oral transmission may have been one of the earliest forms of learning. By teaching others how to make, control, and use fire, early humans created a kind of cultural inheritance that strengthened the group and improved its chances of survival. Passing on knowledge was essential, especially in a world where dangers such as predators and extreme weather were ever present. The use of caves as living spaces and as places of social interaction may also have had far-reaching effects on the development of early religion and systems of belief. Caves may have been seen as special or even sacred places where rituals and ceremonies took place. Archaeological finds show that some caves were decorated with symbolic drawings and artifacts, which can point to a spiritual connection between people and their environment. Such early belief systems may have helped people cope with fear and uncertainty in a frequently hostile world by offering meaning and possible explanations for the natural phenomena around them. Another important point is the possible role of fire in the development of language. Gatherings around a fire may not only have been occasions for social exchange, but also a catalyst for more complex forms of communication. As people told stories and shared information, language may have developed further, allowing more complicated ideas and concepts to be expressed. That development would have been crucial for building communities and establishing social norms and values. The discovery of fire and the use of caves may also have changed the overall way early humans lived. They may have moved less constantly as nomads and spent more time in particular places. This greater stability could have allowed them to develop more lasting structures and engage more deeply with their surroundings. The use of fire improved food consumption and may have supported a more stable way of life, giving people more room to focus on other parts of existence, such as art, music, and social organization. It is also important to remember that using fire and caves was not without challenges. Handling fire required responsibility and practical knowledge because uncontrolled fire could have had devastating consequences. Early humans had to learn how to use it safely while minimizing danger. This ability to solve problems and think critically was itself another step in the evolution of human behavior. Taken together, the discovery and use of fire and the occupation of caves were not just technological breakthroughs. They had deep effects on the social, cultural, and mental development of humanity. These early humans laid the foundations for the complex societies we know today. By looking at their achievements and their challenges, we gain valuable insight into the roots of our own civilization and the development of our social structures. If you enjoyed this journey into the distant past, subscribe to Aurora Knowledge, turn on notifications, and let us know in the comments what topic we should explore next.